Hello, everyone. Should I introduce myself or you guys introduce me? How to go about it?
Okay, if you want, I can start. Okay. So good morning, Mr. Cantu. This is an interview regarding our class in project innovation, and it's on experts advice. If you could please start with your name, your studies, and what you do, and years of experience in managing projects, please.
Yes, let me get started with that. I'm Alejandro Cantú Caballero. I'm a graduate from Tec de Monterrey in the year 2011 from chemical engineering. After that, I spent some time as well doing my MBA in IESE Business School. Currently I work as a leader in a business. It's a home medical equipment business, which I'm currently leading. Most of my experience is either in project management or project management related items, either a consultancy as analyst or consultant, as project manager, and in my previous job as a program manager with several projects being delivered there. So I acted in Unilever as an analyst to projects. Later on in Indra Business Consulting, a Spanish company, and in Maersk Management Consulting, I acted as a consultant. And lately in the company named APM Terminals, which is part of Maersk Group, I acted as a program manager. Those is my experience there.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so this is our next question. What are the 5 practical tips to be effective that you would give to young university students to manage a project effectively?
Great. I'm gonna give 5 tips that might not be all of them related within each other, but I think there's things that at some point I've reflected on after many of these years. The first one is when you're in there's 2 types of projects, I guess, the ones that are going really well and the ones that are going pretty bad. And I guess a third one, whichever are going in between, right? And I would say that the first tip is don't put extra burden on yourself. As a project manager, you have certain responsibilities, but there's many other responsibilities that are either of the company's sponsors, which are usually the CEO or the COO. So what's not your responsibility, you cannot put pressure on yourself. And this I mentioned it because I've spoken with colleagues of mine who work very long hours and who are very desperate about the project, who even start to doubt their own skills, when most of the time, many of these mistakes either happened before or are due to more of senior leader decisions. So when you're managing a project, always think of delivering what you can do, but understand that there are things that are outside your what you can do within the project. So that would be tip number 1 of be clear of what are your responsibilities and don't take extra burden on yourself. The second thing that I would think of, it's to understand very well what's the role of a project manager. It's a funny name because most of the time when you're a project manager, you manage no one. What does that mean? Most of the people in most of the projects, at least that I've been, they have a day job and they have a line manager, and they report to you on a dotted line, and they report to you on a part-time basis. So there's going to be many projects in which, this is not their number 1 priority. And yet you have to be convincing them of why this is important. And you have to find ways how to motivate, control, and make happen the project. So understand, when you're called project manager, you're in control and you're managing a project, but many times you don't have people that report to you directly on a full-time basis. And that's been the case for most of my projects, at least. Now, what would be my third tip? And I'll give 2-in-1 tips here. It's always think of the end product. Whenever you're getting lost into details, of am I doing the right thing, or something that got really complicated. Take a step back and think, what should good look like? What were we trying to achieve where we were thinking originally of the product? Each project usually ends with a final product, with a final delivery. How does that 2V vision look like? So take a step back and reflect, how should you be thinking of what does good look like? Very similar to that one is think of projects that you can complete by phases. Think of complete products. When you're doing nowadays, there's a lot of agile methodologies. And one important thing if you're thinking of a huge project in which you have a new software, in those 2-week sprints, try to make a full software, but that it's more simple, or that doesn't have all the features, but try to go in advance with full products delivered in each stage, rather than breaking it down into, at this phase, we're going to do the financials, and at this phase, we're going to do engineering. Think of full integrated products every time that you are continuing. So break it into smaller phases with clear products. Number 4, and here I'll go into more generic tips. Keep it simple. Reporting. You most of the time try to think, okay, we do need numbers. We do need executives to take decisions, but at the same time, you also, these people are really busy, the people that will be creating your new product. So try and the most simple reporting, make it happen. So in many cases, reporting is necessary also for them to understand what they're doing, but try to balance it out, right? Avoid reporting for the sake of reporting. Number 5, you have to convince people everywhere. So a lot of time it's very well spent repeating and repeating what you're doing. In projects, is a way in which you bring change to the organization. So people are not used to doing the things the way you intend them to do them. This project is to change things. So it will happen very soon that they'll be, because they don't understand, repeating again the why are you doing this project. Spending time on that every day is very important for your project. Here it mentions sharing an experience, and I would share it twofold. Most difficult projects in which I've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy on myself and time, and there's many of those that had gone wrong, and that we didn't deliver what we should have delivered, or what was expected for us to deliver. And when I think back of the projects in which we did amazing results, most of the time I didn't have much work to do, or I didn't have much work to do, I guess, in the second phase of the project. And that happened because I had really good people who were working. They knew really well what to do, that it even felt like my job was not needed. So most of the time I was spending it there speaking with senior leadership about, the good things about the project and what else should I be doing, speaking to the teams of, anticipating some of the challenges that might come. But all of that happened pretty easily, and I would say in 4-hour work per day, rather than 12-hour work on very difficult projects in which I was achieving nothing. So the projects that worked really well, I spent quite very little time, and some of the ones that I spent a lot of time, and they went bad either way. So just my experience, thinking of many projects throughout. I don't know if there's something else you guys want me to ask, to add.
Okay, so there's one last question, and it would be, would you like to share any life and or professional advice?
Yeah, I would go back to what I told you. The amount of effort and hours that you put into doesn't exactly mean how the project will go, right? So so take care of yourself. I would even say this way: take care of yourself before taking care of the project, right? If you love the project, and it'll be, do put the extra hour, do put the extra mile, the extra effort, but take care of yourself beforehand, right? Yep.
Okay, wait, that's great advice. And that would be it. And thank you very much. This helped us a
Thank you,
lot.
guys.